Hey, it's Sarah. Welcome to today's session, and I'm going to dive straight in with John 9, verse 5. While I am the world, I am the light of the world. That's John 9, verse 5. While I am the world, I am the light of the world. How beautiful. How beautiful to think about being in the world and the light of the world. And today's topic is very much around the subject of being in the world and being a force of love in the world. Who doesn't need more love, right? How many of us have been searching for love, whether it's a romantic relationship, whether it's a familial love, whether it's siblings, whether it's friend groups, love in your work, love in your purpose. The role of love and the light and being the light of the world is essentially, for me, it means very much it's about being love in the world. And one of the things that I think we forget and we move away from as we mature, as we grow older, as we get conditioned by society and the world, we end up becoming people who are very rational. We live in a very scientific paradigm. Everything is very focused on logic and maths and science and technology. And for some people, we move away from our human essence. That human essence is not just like physicality, physiology, but it's also connected to aspects of our heart and how we feel in our day-to-day lives, how we interact with others and how we connect. So it's quite interesting because there's so much about love in the Bible. And if you follow any of the works of like Jackie Hill Perry and other Joyce Meyer, other women, for example, who talk about the gospel and who talk about the Bible, you will see that there is a lot about how God is love, and the whole précis of the Bible is a love story. The whole point of it, Lisa Harper talks about this, like God is love. It's a love story, the Bible. It's and it's confusing, right? Because especially if you're an atheist, right, you don't want anything to do with that, right? You don't want anything to do with 10 Commandments, religious prejudice, religious judgment, treatment of women in the Bible. I mean, let's face it, right? A lot of women didn't come out of the Bible particularly well. And even today, women are carrying shame genetically in their bones and in their blood from Eve. The shame and guilt of Eve's temptation, shall we say, and the role of the viper and the snake. All this incredible symbology that goes on throughout the Old Testament, and then as we get into the New Testament as well. So it's interesting, when we look at this, like love as a concept and as a story, there's so many other verses I could have picked from the Bible, so many other bits of scripture that talk about, God is love, you are love, etc. And for some reason, I ended up with the piece around being the light. Because I think, and I felt in that context, that we are the light. That's the only thing that we can possibly be. So we have a choice, right? We have a choice. If we can be the light, we can obviously be dark as well. I mean, clearly, like we see that all the time. People can be. But while you are in the world, my recommendation would be to choose the light and to choose love. And I think that is the essence of today's discussion, is why would somebody not choose to be light of the world? Why would they not? And I think that goes back to some of what we talked about yesterday in terms of people in pain, holding grudges, holding vengeance, being unable to surrender, being unable to trust God. And so, I'm keen to understand more around this topic. And so I think as a community, we should be starting to ask ourselves, in this day, in this moment, am I being present as a force of love, as a force of light in the world? Or am I representing love in the best possible way that I can? Because that is the essence of why we are here. It's almost like a giant experiment. Let's think of it like that. It's a giant experiment to see, can we love one another? Can we show compassion for our fellow human? And it's a test. Let's think of it as a test. Are we able to love through the most horrendous things? Like you think of a mother who's lost her son, or whose son was murdered, and what they go through in order to be able to love the perpetrator, to forgive the perpetrator, and the depths of the compassion. You know, when you're forgiving of people, you go into a different type of love beyond anything I think we see very often in this realm. When people can forgive those who have harmed, abused, and vilified them, you get into a place of love that is completely different from our normal, like, three-dimensional human experience of love. I think you end up in something more Lemurian, for those of you that don't know what Lemuria is, it's a utopia, heaven on earth scenario where you end up living like with the purity of the rose. You end up living a life of pure bliss, pure joy, pure grace, because every single thing that you do, you think, and the way you interact with humanity is kind and gentle, loving and graceful. And so I'm like, these are my dreams, right? These are my aspirations for society. Are we there yet? Are we heckers like, right? I'm a realist. I still have to pay my car tax, I still I have council tax and, day-to-day things that, very quickly snap me out of Lemuria. But if we don't dream and we don't visualize and we don't imagine these utopian societies, how will we ever end up in a place of exceptional love for every single human being? How will we ever get to a place where there is non-judgment for every single human being, regardless of how atrocious and evil and impure and demonic? How, it's so easy, particularly leveraging a Christian faith, to be able to cast poison, right? To be able to throw poison out to people and say, I'm a Christian, therefore I can make this opinion because it's, it doesn't align with what's in the Bible. It doesn't align with what's in the good book. And the truth is, you have no right to be judging others. You have no right to be going against the grace of God, because at the end of the day, we have to surrender to this higher power. The higher power of the universe, of source, of God, whatever you want to call it, based on your belief system, of the Big Bang, that is in control. We think we're in control. We think we can manage everything. We think we can coordinate and plan and strategize and do all the things that we need to do. But at the end of the day, God has your number. And God is watching you. He's counting every hair on your head. And so I feel like we're entering this shift towards this 5-dimensional way of living. A lot of people have been talking about it recently. We saw it with the pandemic. We saw what families went through, where they actually had to live together 24/7. They actually have to try and cohabit and educate and work and live in, all under one roof, all in different rooms, etc. And the intensity of that situation. And that wasn't for no reason. Again, these are all lessons in human compassion, human love, and human kindness. And maybe the pandemic was a great reset, right? And maybe there's an expectation now that life will just snap back to the way it was before. And that's totally unrealistic, let's face it. We are fundamentally changed as a species. Humans have changed as a species as a result of the pandemic. And now what's happening is, and the lesson from it is, we have to go deeper and deeper and deeper into grace. We have to go deeper and deeper and deeper into love. Because if we don't, And if we continue to revert back to how we were before, crazy busyness, flights all over the world, destroying the planet, chopping down every tree because we haven't got the concept of oxygen and where our actual oxygen comes from, all of that crazy unsustainable stuff that's non-feminine, that's non-receptive, that is so like alpha masculine, all about doing, then the whole planet will literally explode. And that's not what we want. That's not what the collective wants. And I know that, like, we all know that 80 to 90% of us do not want the planet to like completely self-combust and destroy itself. So our opportunity and our lesson for today, and I guess this is, a message that I kind of channeled this morning, is how do we become the light of the world? And what does being the light of the world mean? Being the light of the world means you are a force of love. And whether that's to a fellow human, animal, mineral, plant-based, just respect and care for our society, respect and care for our land, the custodians of the land. They took care of us. They loved us. If you look at the principles of the Munaiki, it was all about respecting the elements and the earth and really adoring and honoring why we are here as a species, viscerally, why are we here? And what is it that we're here to do? So if we go back into our purpose, your purpose is to love. Love whatever is in front of you and love whatever is going on around you. So I hope that was helpful for you guys today. I hope that wasn't too preachy. I hope it wasn't too lecturing-y. These are really just messages that I am picking up on in the collective, and I just want to tell you all that I love you, I respect you, I'm sending you so many hugs, and be present, be at peace, be on purpose, and value you.
My appetite, don't leave me here.